It's Rashida. It's been a very, very long time since I have posted anything on YouTube, and this is actually going to be very, very different from what I typically post. Um, I don't really call myself like an internet sleuth or anything like that. Most of the things that I post are spiritually based or talking about my writing as an author. Um, Talking about some clinical stuff as a clinician. And I'm kind of going to weave a lot of different things together today. We are talking about the really big case that's going on in Mississippi. Um, Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old young man who passed away on July 4th weekend when he was with a group of friends. Um, this case has been so heavy on my heart because I too am a mother of a young black male. And while my son is only 12, going on 13, as soon as I saw Nolan's face, there was just this connection that I felt that his story was not what it was appearing to be. Something felt very off. Something felt like it wasn't right, and I just instantly had this connection to wanting to like know what was going on with this case. Why was he in a place with people who, were his friends, but yet he didn't make it back home safely? Um, and I identify with, being a mother who is just trying to seek answers. You just want to know the truth about what happened with your child. And so, I empathize with his family. I have nothing but love and just outpouring of support that I want to lend to his family at this time, because I know, they were not prepared, for such a devastating situation to happen to their child, um, to their family, to themselves, to their community. Nobody is prepared for that. So I first want to give honor and respect to his parents. This will not be a place of disrespect to his parents at all. So if you're looking for a proponent for that, I'm not even going to send you to another place for that. I'm going to send you to Jesus. You need Jesus. um, but anyhow, I will say that some of you know who have been watching my channel know that I too have spiritual gifts, whether you want to call that psychic, prophetic, whatever synonym you want to use for the word. I just say gifts, psychic gifts. I accept it all. That's totally fine for me. Um, but I had a channeling moment last night because I wanted to better understand like what happened, what was the truth, and move my ego to the side and be like, you know, what actually happened. So I'm going to give a disclaimer first. This is for entertainment purposes only. Um, I am going to be doing an intuitive read on the situation that happened. This is not founded in fact. These are just intuitive leads that I received through Nolan Spirit. Um, and whether you believe that or not, that is to your discretion. I am not putting my personal beliefs onto anybody. If you don't believe in this, you can certainly skip to the next channel. Um, but this is just an open conversation, open dialogue on what intuitive hits that I received from this situation. You do with it as you would like. You take your own personal discretions and whatever you believe personally. That's on you. I'm not pushing anything on anybody else. I'm just going to present this in a what if this is actually what happened. So the first thing that Spirit had said was cat's cradle. And I was like, cat's cradle? Like, isn't that a game that you played as a kid where, you got those strings on your hand and it's like it's woven into a web, and then you pass it to the next person, and you're in hopes that they're going to be able to catch the web exactly as you gave it to them, and then they create their own web, and then they pass it to the next person. That's kind of what's going on with this situation. So again, that was the first thing that one of the first things that came was cat's cradle. And I was like, so a woven web of lies and deceit in hopes that the next person that gets the web is going to keep that web of lies going. And another way to look at cat's cradle, when we look at the phrase metaphorically, it is about, and I took down some notes because y'all know I'm a note taker. Okay. So it's also metaphorical to mean a complex or an intricate situation. So everything is not all what it seems. Lots of diversions that were shared amongst that group of young adults, okay, because they're no longer considered children, but they are younger adults under the age of 21. And so I'm just going to kind of walk you through the channeling that I had last night. If something else comes up, by all means, it'll be new to me coming and saying it to you. But one of the first things that I felt in the channeling was confusion. It was as if I was sitting in Nolan's place on the boat. So he was on the boat with these friends, and he's just kind of chilling out. There is a young lady that's next to me. That young lady's name is not Katie, though. I was told a name, but I personally do not want to give that name out. That name will come out, but it was not Katie. One of the first things that I also heard was that Katie person was used as a diversion. And Warren specifically used her as a diversion in this situation. Because, yes, it was true that she did speak to Nolan on Horn Island. And prior to him getting on the boat with his friends, she was one of the last girls that he talked to on the island. Not on the boat, but on the island. And when you guys find out into the intuitive hits that I got, okay, this is for conversational purposes only. I am not a detective. I am just talking about intuitive hits that I got. So you can listen if you feel free. But there is some significance to the throat, but I'll get to that in a second. So yes, I'm hearing him. Okay, hey, we got to get on the boat. We got to get on the boat. Let's go. He gets on. They're having a good time. Yes, they are under the influence because I'm feeling kind of like I'm chilling. Like I'm not over the top and I'm not feeling down. I'm like right in the middle where I got a nice little buzz going. Again, I'm sitting in Nolan's seat. And so, young lady next to me, and I feel eyes on me. I feel eyes that are jealous eyes. Another male on the boat. And he's looking at me like, why you always getting the girls? Why they always like you? And there's a sense of rejection that this person feels from Nolan and from the girls. It's kind of like, I feel like you're disrespecting me, but I also don't know how to say it in a way that I don't sound like a I'm gonna use the word bitch because that's what's coming. So so now I'm looking at through the lens of this other person who's looking at Nolan with this young lady by him. And Nolan is just chilling. But he's very charming. He has a way with girls. He has a way with girls. Like, they like him. They take to him. They think he's a cool guy. He's, handsome, nice, physique. He's got a good future ahead of him. He comes from good stock. And they take to him. And he's different than me. I am a little bit of a douchebag. I can come and attract them, but then once they start finding out my little quirks, they get gone quick. And I don't like the fact that this girl is now taken to you when I was the one who was interested in her. Now I'm coming out of that person's perspective, and I'm now back where Nolan is sitting. And Nolan is just chilling. He's like, everybody's on a boat talking shit. I feel a little confusion for a moment because people are kind of getting a little rowdy, getting a little antsy. But I'm just still trying to chill and just, kind of like, all right, we're going to get back to the land, the mainland. And then I feel the jealous eyes come towards me. Now I feel a little panicked, like, why he coming over here like that? And then I'm being confronted about the girl. But I'm also noticing that this person is under the influence. They're not really making a lot of sense to me. They make me feel like I'm doing something wrong when I'm not. This person has I don't have any ownership over this person. You don't have any ownership over this person. So why are you coming at me like this? Like, it's not even that deep. Like, if you want her, you can have her. Like, it ain't that deep to me. But it is that deep to this other person with the hateful eyes. And they're jealous. They're very jealous of me. They're jealous that you keep taking all the girls. You keep attracting all the girls. And they kind of get in my face, and I'm like, bro, like, back up. Like, I'm not really taking this exchange seriously. And even though I feel a little anxious, I don't feel too worried that it's going to escalate. And then all of a sudden I just feel a sudden boop, and my head goes like this, and my throat goes like that, and something in my throat just snaps, and I fall. Very quick, very instant, so unexpected because I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I wasn't on guard. I didn't brace myself because I didn't think that this was going to happen. I didn't feel like I could see this person doing that, but no. I couldn't imagine that you would have been the one. Like, this other guy over here, yeah, he's a hothead. But I couldn't imagine that you would take things there with me. We've been friends since we were little kids. Like, why was it ever that deep? It was never that deep for me. And so then I'm like, I pop out of my body. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? what happened? I was there, now I'm here. I'm here, but I'm there too. How am I here and there? And I'm trying to get back there, but I'm here. And then I just see everybody in a panic. Everyone is in a panic. They're trying to figure out. All I hear is Nolan, Nolan, what the fuck, Nolan? I'm hearing people screaming. I'm looking like, help me get back there, help me get back there. And then I start to feel betrayal. I start seeing people panicking, making phone calls. I start hearing people trying to say something else happened that didn't. I see people planning things that I'm confused about. And I just feel a big sense of betrayal. I feel a huge sense of betrayal. I see them going in my pocket for my phone. They're in a panic. They're still trying to figure out, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to say? We're calling people. We're calling a judge. We're calling a grandfather. Everybody's trying to help my so-called friends get away with what happened. I would have took ownership for what happened. I have integrity. Yes, this wasn't, so let me step out for a second. This was not intentional. It's very clear that this was a jealous male who wanted to embarrass Nolan, knew that if he would have really squared up with him, he would have got his ass beat. So that's why he snuck him. But his intention was to embarrass and hurt him, but it was not to, he didn't know that he was going to kill him with the amount of force that he used. But when you think about like rage, jealousy, being drunk, being high, a lot of people don't know their own strength in that moment. And also think about the person who is defenseless, right? So if I'm getting in a fight, that's why you see when someone is snuck, they're more likely to get knocked out versus someone who squares up with somebody, because your body is already on defense. If you're a snuck, you don't have any time to react. Your body just it's like a car accident, right? Like if you were T-boned, you never saw a car coming. You didn't get the time to brace yourself. So it's like whiplash, like, I'm sorry to do it like that, but it is like that. Like when you whip your head real quick like that, and you were not bracing for that, anything like the force of that movement can break bones. It can snap bones. Now, the bone that was broken was the hyoid bone. And the hyoid bone is a bone that's actually attached to like ligaments and things, but it's a loose bone at the same time. So that bone, if broken, can puncture major arteries and it can break it can disrupt your airway. It can like cause your airway to become like enlarged, like blocked. That's the word. It can cause your airway to become blocked if you break that bone. And so Just think about like a car accident and someone's head goes like this and then it quickly snaps down. That force, centripetal force, I think it's called, um, can like quickly break something because you were not ready for that. You were not bracing for it. So that's why like it happened so quick. And I'm like, I'm here. At first I was there, and now I'm here. I'm over here. Like, why am I over here when I should be there? My body is there, but my consciousness, I am over here. And I'm trying to get back there, but I can't. I cannot get back there. There's no way for me to get back there. So now I'm seeing people on their phones, people panicking, people still screaming my name, Nolan. They're trying to like get me back there, but I can't get back there. And they were freaking out. Now, I'm not going to be using names, okay? I know who, but again, I am not using names. Y'all not going to be doxing my ass, and y'all not going to be coming after me. I'm just simply telling y'all what the fuck I'm seeing. And this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm hearing, and this is what has been happening. So I'm seeing phone calls being made. I'm seeing people telling lies. I'm seeing my friends, I feel so hurt. I feel betrayed. I'm like about to cry. Like, I feel like y'all motherfuckers did me so dirty. Y'all discarded me like I was a piece of fucking trash. And y'all lied to my mother. Y'all lied to my father. Y'all are tarnishing my image, and I would have stood 10 toes down for all of y'all. And y'all betrayed me. I am not going to rest until all of you motherfuckers pay. That's how I feel. I'm not going to rest until everyone pays for what they did. Y'all know what y'all did. And y'all dead ass wrong for that. Okay. I'm going to step out of that energy. I thank Nolan. I thank his spirit guides. I thank his ancestors. I love him unconditionally for allowing me to channel these messages. If anything else comes through, I will let y'all know. But I'm going to say this. Let's just look at some of the things that are coming out. His friends saying, hey, we didn't see Nolan since 3 o'clock. They are on the boat and making a phone call to Cito at 4:31 p.m. Now, some things that I'm going to say as a layperson, I'm not a boater. I'm not a captain of a ship. I've never captained a ship. So I don't know in terms of like, how long does it take to get from Horn Island to the mainland where they had sailed from? I don't know that. I don't know that information. I'm not going to pretend that I know it. But, and I don't want to make any guesses in terms of like distance. Like, the only thing that I do know in terms of what has come out in the news is that they were towed for 3 miles. I don't know where they were from the point of the starting of the tow to them getting back to the mainland. I don't know where they were, but I do know where they said they were on that phone call is not where they were. It was no way they could have been where they said they were because there were too many people there that would have been able to witness that a sea tow boat came and towed them to where they needed to go. They were not in the place that they said that they were. They were in, the largest part of the body of water. They were not near the shore of Horn Island on the west tip, which is where they said that they were when they gave the GPS coordinates. I also know that Katie is being used as a diversion. I think that one of those boys has a heart up for her. Maybe they felt rejected by her. Maybe they wanted her. She didn't want them. And so maybe I want to throw her name in there too, because I did see Nolan talking to her last. And maybe she could get thrown into the mix too. But she was not that person on the boat. She was not. That was not her. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that young lady was not on their boat with them. Other things. You're yelling at other things that they have said that have been contradictory. I'm yelling at Nolan to get on the boat that's sinking. I'm telling him, get on the boat that's sinking. Wouldn't you want fewer people on a sinking boat because you don't want to sink? What sense does it make for him to be yelling for him to get on the boat that's sinking? It doesn't make sense. That don't make sense. Okay, let's use our common sense. Cell phones. Everybody's always said it. How many teenagers do you know go without their cell phones? Even if they're going to be on salt water. They done made so many things to where you can protect your phone, put it in a waterproof container, all kinds of stuff. You think a teenager who likes to use Snapchat is going to be away from his cell phone for too long? You heard the other boy, Tristan, I'll say his name now. You heard him talking about, give me my fucking phone. Give me my fucking phone. He said he was the one who said that. Wasn't he on the water? Wasn't he in open water when he was yelling for his phone? Right? So at some point he had it, and at some point somebody else had his phone and he wanted his phone back. That's how you know. You got to use your common sense. Nolan had his phone. Nolan didn't have his phone anymore after they took it out of his pocket. Because now we're trying to scramble to find out, what can we do? What can we do? Eventually, his mom's going to call him. Eventually, his father may call him. Eventually, people are going to start getting worried about what's going on with Nolan. And what do I need to do to get in the phone? An iPhone. I need to use your Face ID. Word to the wise, you can still use a Face ID on a phone, even if the person is no longer alive. You can still get in their phone like that. Next. What else do I want to clear up? Nolan, is there anything else you want to clear up? Everybody's running away from the problem, right? His thing is like, I have integrity. If I would have done something like this, as hard as this may sound to tell my friend's family, and as hard as it may be for me to say, hey, I was the one who did this, I would have still told his family what happened. It's clear that this was an accident. Like, okay, did this boy intend to hurt and embarrass Nolan? Yes. Did he intend to actually kill him? No, it wasn't I'm going to kill him right now. No. But you, unfortunately, caused harm to another person, whether you intended to kill them or not. Your actions caused their death. So then, in turn, you are still responsible for their death. Simple as that. Now, that probably would have got you some manslaughter. I don't know what it's going to get you now, because when you try to cover things up and you try to get everybody else involved, you're creating more of an issue for yourself. You're creating an issue for yourself and for other people now. That's why you hear them saying, damn it, so and so. Like, damn it, like, what the fuck? Like, why are we here? We should not be here. We should not be here. We should be going to the mainland, going to parties, hooking up with our friends, and having a good time. Sorry, y'all. Of our channel, I do get a little stuffy. But I will say this. There, on my other monitor, I'm going to turn it around a little bit. There are pictures of boats. You guys can see that. Pictures of boats. And so I do feel like, you know, whether you guys believe this or not, again, entertainment purposes only. I am merely a messenger. I do thank my guys and my spirit family for allowing me to be a vessel to channel this information. But I also know that there are people who don't believe in this kind of stuff, and that's okay. But I'm just saying, hey, what if this is what actually happened? What if I was on the boat with those people? What if my friend snuck me? What if when my friend snuck me, because I wasn't expecting it, I snapped my neck and my hyoid bone broke? What if that is what caused me to die? What if I had no idea that these were the kind of people that I was in the company of? Because what if my friends that I've been friends with since I was a little kid covered up the fact that one of them injured me and caused me to die? What if they discarded my body in the water in hopes that it appeared as if I drowned? What if they made a phone call to Cito to make it seem like their boat was sinking? What if that was actually a diversion? What if Katie was a diversion to pin it on her so that the onus is on her and the attention is no longer on me? What if we all made a pact to say, you tell them this, the cat's cradle. These are the web of lies that I have woven, and I'm going to keep passing these lies to each person to make sure that none of the lies slip. But what happens in cat's cradle usually? Some of the threads start to move around, and some of the threads just wither away. And by the time you're done with it, it's just a string of lies. All right, y'all, I gotta go. I pray that the truth will be revealed, that justice will prevail, because Nolan is saying he is not stopping. He is not resting until the truth comes out, and the truth will prevail. Hallelujah. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Be safe out there. I'm sending lots of love and light. especially to Nolan's family at this time. Take care.